Hello there, thanks a lot for coming by PosterCentral.com's video blog today. I'm Pete Howard, and holy cow, right? Wilson Pickett, oh my goodness, the Wicked Pickett, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame member, and here he is in 1968 headlining the June Jamboree. Obviously a fun soul music traveling package that just sounds like it would be awesome to attend and has a poster to match. I mean, who doesn't love Wilson Pickett? Come on, right? Land of a Thousand Dances, In the Midnight Hour, Mustang Sally, songs you still hear by bar bands all the time to this day, just real evergreens. And that's as a performer, although he did co-write or write some of those, but heck, well, let's just put it this way, his stable of songs as a writer have been covered by the likes of Rolling Stones, Bruce Springsteen, Creedence Clearwater Revival, Grateful Dead, Roxy Music. I mean, the list just goes on forever. It's amazing. And so his songwriter royalty checks must have been awesome until, of course, he did pass away and we lost him. But and some of those performances were just part of live jams, but they were released and Wilson was covered, and as a result, the songs continue to live on strongly to this day. So, boy, I'll tell you, it's just a great guy to headline a soul music poster, that's for sure. I use that term because, of course, that's the term that was used at the time in the mid-60s. And then you've got in that beautiful purple oval right below that, Arthur Conley. My goodness, talk about no slouch. Sweet Soul Music is such a legendary soul music and pop music hit of the time. And boy, that's as strong as anything that Pickett did. And then you've got, right here by my hand, in that blue area, that blue oval, Peggy Scott and JoJo Benson. Now, for some reason, their names are reversed here. I mean, you know, the typesetter or whatever put him on top. I'm not sure why. Hopefully it was not, you know, 60s sexism at work or whatever, but all their records were released with her name first. But, you know, they had two top 10 rhythm and blues hits this very year, so great timing for them as well. And then down at the bottom, certainly not last, but certainly not least, is Rock and Roll Hall of Fame member Etta James in that bright fluorescent orange. Just really pops off this poster. It's amazing. Now, she's not actually last because underneath Etta there, I want to move in a little bit closer and give you a quick look. It's kind of funny. Remember the term Battle of the Bands when that was used? In fact, it probably still is. Well, here you've got Battle of Bands. And as you can see, it says Arthur Conley Orchestra and Wilson Pickett Orchestra. Now, you know, did they really battle, or is that just typical boxing style concert poster hype? I don't know, you know. I have no doubt that the headlining singers had their own bands, but, you know, did they square off? Was there a shootout? Did they each play an instrumental and the audience vote? You know, the MC, you know, whatever. Or is it just a term on a poster? And I would probably guess the latter, but, you know, anything's possible. And it certainly makes for a colorful element on this poster. And it's also kind of funny the way that the very term itself, orchestra, was still being used in 1968. I mean, that was such a holdover from 50s rock and roll when the posters said things like Fats Domino and his orchestra, which in itself was a holdover, of course, from the 30s and 40s big bands. But by the late 60s, it was really fading in usage, and so this might be one of the last posters to actually have that. So this poster does have a couple of really different, fun, interesting elements to it, which I'll get to in just a second. But first I did want to point out the top portion, because it is a tour blank. And as you can see, this is from Knoxville, Tennessee. Doesn't say Tennessee. The Civic Coliseum, and a big old giant 1 there for Saturday, June 1st. No year need to be given, 1968, 8:30 p.m. And then it's got the admission prices and ticket information. And then you've got what I often call the, you know, the permanent portion, although you'll see in a second it's not exactly in its permanent state yet. But all the color portion was printed ahead of time, and then the dates up top were just stripped in. So this was the June Jamboree Tour, and it went to, I'm sure, a lot of cities, but whether it was 2.5 weeks or 2.5 months, I don't know. And we don't really know unless somebody digs up some records or you find posters from, you know, each end of the tour. But what I would like to show you is a photograph of this exact poster from 8 days later, okay? So we're going to go there, as you can see, from Saturday, June 1. Let's go to June 9th, and as I said, I have just a picture for this one, but this is from Greensboro, North Carolina. And as you can see, it is the same poster, and it's just neat to see that different information up there in the top. And the ticket prices are the same, and the starting time is the same, but the venue information is a lot more crowded. The local radio station is in there. But, you know, another significant difference to show you is notice Wilson Pickett's lettering up top. See how it's in red? And look at the background behind his picture. See how it's in red? Well, that's the way it was indeed printed. So what you have on this one is Look at that, they're in white. The background to his picture and his lettering is in white. And that's because somebody along the way, whether it be in the 60s or 30 years later, who knows, certainly wasn't me, took either white paint or whiteout and colored those in. I guess they felt the poster had too much red, I don't know. But here's the funny thing, and it's all art, so it's all opinion, but I actually like this look better. I think it's great to have the bright red reserved for just Etta James, and I think the white really pops against the black. Now, important to point out, that's because it's not this white up here, which was the original color. It'd be quite toned by now, like the rest of the poster is, but it's, a bright white. But the result you have is just really a sharp-looking poster. I really like it this way, although, collectors would say, oh, it's perhaps a little bit altered, but again, maybe that would come out pretty easily too, I'm not sure. Okay, so I've sort of saved the best tidbit for last, the fun one, the funnest one, I should say. The whole thing is fun, hopefully. But when I first got this poster, look at Wilson Pickett there in the blue area under his name. It says, "I got you, babe." Huh? Talk about a head scratcher. Come on, Sonny and Cher's hit from 1965. Everybody covered everybody back then, but I just can't imagine that song without a female presence, too well. So I was wondering, I was starting to look it up to see if he recorded it, because Arthur Conley below him had the right song titles. I mean, Sweet Soul Music and Funky Street, as you can see, those were both top 5 R&B hits and the biggest of his career. But wait a minute, then you've got Etta James there, and what's her song title? Lover's Holiday. Now, I clearly remember in 1968 on Boss Radio KHJ in Los Angeles, Peggy Scott and JoJo Benson having that hit with Lover's Holiday. So, yep, indeed, they mixed the songs around. On the first print of this poster, they got a couple of them wrong. Well, I don't know if you caught it when I showed you this visual, but 8 days later, they were changed already. Look at that. Let me get in a little bit closer so you can see that. Hopefully you can see the titles just fine. And by the very next weekend, I Got You, Babe was down where it belongs with Etta James, and Lover's Holiday was over where it belongs between Peggy Scott and JoJo Benson. And Wilson Pickett was back where he belongs, in the top 10 of R&B charts with She's Looking Good. So, boy, that's funny. I wonder how long, how many dates before June 1 this tour ran and how long they used this poster. It's, it's sort of unanswerable unless you were lucky enough to find one copy of the poster from each stop on the tour. But a couple of really interesting different elements about this poster, but any way you look at it, the June Jamboree was a happening, swinging, cool soul music review from 1968, and the poster, with that purple and bright red and everything, is just a sight to behold, so it's a real beauty. Hope you enjoyed seeing it. Thanks a lot for coming by today, and we'll see you next time for something soon. Take care. Bye-bye.